Good afternoon. We are coming to you live from outside the August House right here at the National Assembly, where in the next few minutes we shall see the opening or the resumption of the August House. That is the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia, also known as the National Assembly. That's the lawmaking assembly. We shall, of course, we have already started seeing a lot of lawmakers descending on the precincts and premises of the Parliament, and of course seeing their way through in the August House itself. And we know that the opening of Parliament at this point is happening at a time when there is a somber mood and a dark cloud that is hanging over the Namibian House on account of the shocking demise of the President of the Republic of Namibia, President Hage Geingob, a man whose death has also sent shockwaves of grief right across the rest of the world, as far as the Republic of Russia, all the way to the United States of America, where President Joe Biden said he will miss working with President Hage Geingob. And of course, in Russia, President Hage Geingob has been celebrated by President Putin as a man who really took the mantle to fight for the liberation of his own country. And of course, right here in the region, President Hage Geingob continues to be mourned. A few minutes ago, we saw reports to the effect that the President of the Republic of Botswana, Eric Mokwetsi Masisi, has already ordered the flying at half-mast of the national flag of the Republic of Botswana in all the establishments and institutions and spaces where the Botswana flag is found. He was here in the Republic of Namibia a few hours after the announcement of the demise of President Hage Geingob, and of course consoling the first family. He was, of course, on the cameras really being seen with the former First Lady of the Republic of Namibia, that is Madame Monica Geingob, together with the family. And he flew back, of course, in anticipation that he shall be back here when the official funeral of the president shall actually commence right here in the Republic of Namibia. There is a lot that is happening behind the scenes within the ministries, various ministries that are preparing themselves in terms of how they can come in and be part of the moving of the pieces towards the burial of the President of the Republic. We do not as yet have a substantive date, a solid date as to when exactly shall the president be buried and where exactly the president shall be buried. But of course, we know that the obvious place that anybody can just pick from any pocket of guessing is to say the remains of the president shall see themselves at the Heroes Acre, which is a national monument where all the heroes of the Republic of Namibia and all the presidents of the Republic of Namibia are to be interred and are interred. I was having an interview earlier on with the executive director of the Ministry of Education, Sanet Steenkamp, was indicating that as far as the Heroes Acre is concerned, there are quite a number of ministries that do have responsibilities there. The Ministry of Defense, of course, responsible for security and other issues related to their mandate there. The Ministry of Works also responsible for construction and, of course, the upkeep of the buildings there as far as their state is concerned. The Ministry of Education and their heritage arm, culture arm, are responsible for making sure that that place is clean. So she was indicating to me just earlier on that they have started rolling the ball to make sure that the place is clean. Debushing is happening. They are making use of the men by the roads. You know, these men that are always by the roads looking for work, they tend to be given this particular job so that they can carry it all out. And of course, it's all paid work. It's all to prepare the ground so that the burial of the president, should I say the interment of the president, happens with clockwork precision. That's what I'm getting as far as that is concerned. So that is exactly what is happening at this point. President Cyril Ramaphosa has come out to eulogize President Hage Geingob. We know for sure that President Hage Geingob has been on record to say that the fraternal relationship that exists within the circle of presidents in the region is such that each president is on speed dial and they communicate with each other on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, and of course on many matters of security, national concern, mutual concern in the region. And he did indicate that President Cyril Ramaphosa was a man that was so close to him. And of course, President Eric Mokwetsi Masisi, a man who has said that Namibia is his second home. He has been here numerous times to make sure that there is a solidification of the fraternal relationship that continues to exist between Namibia and the Republic of Botswana. We've seen the President of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, also eulogizing over the death of President Hage Geingob. We've also seen the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, also coming out to issue a statement in connection with this tragedy now that Namibia is dealing with. So, of course, at the back of all that, the National Assembly is opening today. We're being informed that exactly at 2:30 o'clock, we shall see the August House opening its doors. And of course, for the first time in the history of the Republic of Namibia, we shall see Namibia's fourth president walking into the August House today. It is His Excellency President Nangolo Mbumba, the former vice president, who has now risen to the helm to take over this space that has been created by the death of President Hage Geingob. And so effectively done, this transition of power has been and celebrated also right across. I was speaking to a number of Namibians that say that we do commend the democratic underpinnings and the efficiency of the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia, to the extent that when the announcement of the demise of the president was made, it did not take time. Neither was there any bickering around the necessitation of a smooth transition of power, of course, with the vice president taking on the oath of office and then, of course, being sworn in as the fourth president of the Republic of Namibia. And the story of President Nangolo Mbumba is an extraordinary story that is playing out in today's print media. The New Era newspaper indicating to us that according to President Nangolo Mbumba, his wish was to become a principal. But then, of course, that wish now seeing him catapulted rather to the very pinnacles of the most powerful office of the land to become the president of this republic. Remember, when Nangolo Mbumba came to the fore of the presidency, it was after a death it occurred in the inner circle of the most powerful office of the land, which necessitated his rise to the occasion to then become the vice president of the Republic of Namibia. And now, once again, death has hovered over State House, and this time around, taking over the president of the Republic. And once again, just as he also rose to the helm and occupying the position of the vice president as a result of a death, President Nangolo Mbumba is seeing himself also being catapulted by the demands and dictates of nature, especially in its manifestation in He is a transitional president, but he continues with effect from the time that he was given the instruments of power, if I should say. The moment that he saw the oath of office, of course, putting his hand on the constitution of the land and swearing to become the president of the republic. He does have all the power of a president, even though he is a transitional president. His responsibility right now is to oversee the democratic dispensation that we are about to enter into now, the contestation of democracy, where elections shall be held in November. He shall be overseeing that until the expiry of the tenure of the now deceased President Hage Geingob. And of course, there's still a lot that needs to be done beyond the national politics, within the parties and corridors of the SWAPO party, which is the ruling house right now. There are going to be some movements also to try to make sure that the vacuums that have been created also get to be filled. President Hage Geingob equally was the president of the SWAPO party. That position is vacant, and we know that Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah becomes the acting president of the party at this particular point, but the constitutional dictates of the SWAPO party requires that the Secretary General must call for an extraordinary Congress. So there must be the calling of an extraordinary Congress, at which point there shall be a contestation once again to make sure that a leadership is put in place on a substantive basis. So that's what we are likely going to be seeing also within the SWAPO party. That must happen before the elections can actually come to fruition, because the party needs to put to the fore its candidates, and that's what we're getting as far as that is concerned. Now, as a result of the shifts that we have seen there, the rise to the presidency of Vice President Nangolo Mbumba, we've now seen the rise to the Vice President of the former Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. What it means is that the President of the Republic now has the obligation and mandate to make sure that there is a Deputy Prime Minister that there is a Minister of Foreign Affairs or a Minister of International Relations and Cooperation. That will happen, of course, within his office. He does have the constitutional prerogative of choosing whoever he wants to occupy those positions, that of the Deputy Prime Minister and that of the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, because the woman that was occupying those two positions has now taken over other responsibilities, being, of course, now the Vice President of the Republic of Namibia. He was the candidate of the SWAPO party. Now we cannot talk about that because the party has to walk through the crucible of its own extraordinary Congress so that it can then give us a substantive slate that would then be there to contest the November 2024 elections. And of course, that is the background that we are dealing with right now. But at the center of what is happening today, as I indicated earlier on, is the opening of the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia. What do we expect today? I was speaking to various lawmakers that say that because of the times that we are in right now, because of the dispensation that Namibia sees itself, a dispensation of mourning and death, and the death of a leader, the death of a president, Parliament is not going to be business as usual today. This is the information that we're getting from some sources who are saying that, of course, we do expect the President, Nangolo Mbumba, to walk into the August House. We do expect him to say something. And of course, we are being told members might be asked not to pose questions. We have also been informed that lawmakers have been asked to also write tributes to the President of the Republic. We wanted to find out whether the eulogization of the President shall happen today, the offering of the tribute shall happen today in the National Assembly. Some sources are saying that this may not happen today, that soon after the business of today is done, there shall be a request for a postponement of the House, and then tomorrow we shall possibly see members of Parliament convening in this hallowed tabernacle of lawmaking, and then of course eulogizing over the death of the President, offering their eulogies, offering their tributes, remembering the President whom they differed with politically and agreed with at the same time politically. It shall be happening here at Parliament. It shall be happening here in the National Assembly. And of course, right now, I'm being informed that ambassadors are seeing their way inside the premises of the National Assembly. We shall be speaking with some of them. We do have, of course, some officials here at the National Assembly that are walking in. Let's see if we can just have a small conversation here as we wait for the National Assembly. Sir, if you can just take a seat there, we do appreciate you. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for speaking to Desert Radio.
Yes.
That's all right. What can we expect this afternoon in the National Assembly? And we know that at the same time, we are also mourning the death of President Hage Geingob. Can you tell us what is happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, this will not be an ordinary session. Slightly things will change because we will not follow the tradition that is there because of the situation you also know. But I think we will open and then adjourn because we have a heavy task on our shoulders. This is the first time for Namibians to be in a situation like this. And that needs our calmness. But one thing I appreciate for Namibian people is the peace and stability that is reigning in the country itself in a situation like this. Because we know Africa and we know how it could have been if this situation was somewhere else.
That's right, sir. When you heard that President Hage Geingob had passed on, where were you and what happened to you in that moment?
I was still at the farm, and when I heard the breaking news, I still could not believe. It's too soon. But it has taken me few minutes to iron out what is going on. But this is the will of God. What can we do? It was the icon of liberation struggle, the man that has tried his whole life to unite the Namibian people and who was concerned about the prosperity of the Namibians. But if God, who has given him for us, has taken him, what can we say?
That's right. And before I can let you go there, what can we expect from the new president of the Republic, President Nangolo Mbumba, in the August House today? Is he going to deliver a speech, and what kind of a speech can it really be?
Yes, he will deliver a speech and calm down the Namibian nation, because now everything is on his shoulders. The nation is mourning on his shoulders now. And as a person who are very close to the president, he knows how to handle the situation.
That's right, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's right, and do have a productive remainder of the day.
Thank you very much.
That's right. That's what we're getting right now at the National Assembly. We are in the premises of the August House. It is a law-making house, of course, the center of Namibia's democracy, the representatives of Namibia's democratic house. This is where they have their offices. This is where they hold their debates, and this is also where they hold court, especially when it comes to matters of national importance. And as I indicate to you there, even right now, Namibia is known as a semi-arid country, and rarely do you see dark clouds, even physically, hovering over the heads. And according to our African tradition, we are also informed that when a great happening plays out in a country, especially the death of a man that is considered an icon and a national leader, even the weather itself has a way of responding. We saw the downpour of a deluge of waters on Friday. This also playing out on Saturday, and also even today we see dark clouds gathering over the skies of Windhoek, of course signaling that it's not a day like any other day. I remember very well when Theo Ben Gorirab, a diplomatic powerhouse right here in Namibia, died, and the day that that announcement was made, it poured down. And at the same time also when Herman Andimba Toivo also passed on, I remember also the weather also responding, and according to our traditions, just an indication that even the elements can tell that it's not just like any other day. Right here in the city of Windhoek, we do have cumulonimbus clouds that are there in the skies. And of course, those clouds then being represented by the literal cloud that is hanging over our house right now as people mourn. Yesterday, Namibians and especially Windhoekens from all walks of life were gathered in the parking lot of the city of Windhoek, where a vigil was being held, and prayer after prayer and plaintive music after plaintive music, signaling that really an icon has been lost. President Hage Geingob was not only a political powerhouse, he is celebrated for being one of the architects of the founding constitution of the Republic of Namibia. And he goes down a man celebrated for the role that he played, especially in making sure that Namibia does not become a democracy on paper, but that the democratic contestation is playing out. And that democratic contestation playing out in an environment where there's freedom of conscience, there's a freedom of thought, there's a freedom of speech, and most importantly, there's freedom of the media. President Hage Geingob coming out to say, for as long as I'm the president of the Republic of Namibia, there shall be no harassment of journalists and free speech shall be held. And it was here in Windhoek that the Windhoek Declaration was spawned in the early hours of the founding of the Namibian nation. So it's a Democrat who is being celebrated, a man that was open to agreeing to disagree, and a man who disagreed with a lot of people, but a man who is being mourned by the very same people that disagreed with him. And of course, Umbara Ochitambi of the Ova Herero faction, Professor Muchinde Kachiwa, coming out to say that we indeed are mourning an icon, but it does not take away the fact that we differed with him on matters of principle. And yes, we continue to differ. And what is democracy without differences? What is democracy without dissent? And that's what we're getting as far as that is concerned. And we are being told that other aspects of the opening of Parliament, like the sounding of the gun salute, the pomp, the ceremony, all those colorful elements are being scrapped in line with the somber climate within which President Hage Geingob is being commemorated, within which President Hage Geingob is being mourned, and within which President Hage Geingob is being equally celebrated. And that's what we're getting there. We continue to see more and more of the lawmakers really are getting in the precincts of the National Assembly. I also see members of the judiciary, judges of the Supreme Court. Matter of factly, tomorrow shall be the opening of the legal year, and we shall also be at the Supreme Court to oversee that. I see also judges of the Supreme Court walking in the premises of the National Assembly, finding their way inside the lawmakers' house there. We'll try to see if we can get some of them right here so that they can also speak to us. But of course, such is the time, and that's what we're giving you here. We will continue to give you updates of what's playing out right here at Parliament building, but also most importantly understand that outside the scope of the morning here, this house does have the obligation of making sure that bills are passed in the Republic of Namibia. We shall take a look at what played out in 2023 when it comes to the passing of bills. And we will, of course, remind you that there was that record passing of the anti-grey listing bills that played out last year, much to the chagrin and disappointment of opposition lawmakers, one of them being the chief whip of the Noodle Party, that's Joseph Kawandenge, who came out to say that we are rushing to pass these bills. He was actually criticizing cabinet, saying we are rushing to pass these bills, and these bills are simply being rubber stamped without us really committing our thoughts, without us really committing our intelligence and time and deep thoughts into the essence of these bills. But of course, the reality is we do have approximately 23 bills that were passed last year. We shall be taking a look at them. Some of those bills are very critical. They came as a result of demands that came from the Financial Action Task Force, also known as the FATF, which came out to say that Namibia's jurisdiction is very weak when it comes to the effective fight against money laundering. There is a need to reconfigure the laws of the Republic of Namibia, especially that speak to the combating of money laundering. There is a need to firm up and to strengthen and to consolidate some of the laws and to come up with new laws so that Namibia does not enter the grey list. We have been last year at pains to also define and explain to you what grey listing really means. It simply means that Namibia is considered to be a weak jurisdiction when it comes to fighting money laundering from an execution perspective, also from a legal perspective. And as a result, being put in the grey list simply means that there is increased monitoring on the Republic of Namibia when it comes to international trade and international transactions. And you don't want that monitoring really happening on your country, because it is a way of spooking investors as well. And in a bid to forestall that and cushion the economy against being grey listed, yesterday we saw the record passing of these bills in due time. Of course, there was a deadline that by the 30th of June 2023, some of these bills, all of these bills were supposed to have been passed. It played out. We spoke with the chief whip of the SWAPO party, Ambioka Munyera, who said we are good, we are as good as done. But of course, we shall then see what to get and to hear from the Financial Action Task Force. There shall be a reviewing of these bills. What does it mean? Does it mean that we are now in the clear, we are out of the woods? Does it mean now Namibia has been positioned from a legal perspective so well that we are capable of dealing with money laundering issues? We shall be taking a look at those bills right here on the program. At the same time, we shall be taking a look at conversations with lawmakers, of course, that are walking into the National Assembly at this point. My name is Kelvin Chiringa. You continue to listen to Desert Radio and the Namibian, and thank you so much. Continue to stay tuned on our Facebook Live.
I just want to back.
We continue to give you this live feed from the National Assembly right here, where in the next few minutes we shall see the opening of the August House. I'm joined by our reporter, Shalegan Peterson. Shalegan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Calvin. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Such a very somber mood.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Definitely a very different atmosphere. I mean, the 1st of January always signifies three things: the president presenting the legal year, opening the legal year, opening parliament, and also the president opening cabinet. Three branches of power, always signified by the president giving a speech, what he expects from them. And we have a ceremony much as today. But today's a different mood. We have our third president, Hage Geingob, who died. We have a lot of members of parliament on Sunday already. You had the members of parliament, members of cabinet at State House, just sort of sobbing and crying and screaming out loud. You saw the vice president, now president of the Republic of Namibia, Nangolo Mbumba, also very teary. But I mean, we've also seen yesterday a different mood, in fact, a more serious mood of business needs to continue much like today.
That's right. I was speaking with the finance minister just earlier on, who said, I cannot say anything. I cannot come and say anything because this is heavy. It's heavy in the heart. I was also speaking with the Justice Minister, Yvonne Dowsap, also said, I cannot speak at this point because I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm just so overcome with grief. But also, it's not going to be business as usual today because of this death. And I'm pretty sure it's really going to be about, so as lawmakers, what is the way forward in terms of dealing with this state funeral here. But what is it that you're picking from the international community? How exactly have presidents across the region, across the world, responded to this?
Yeah. Yesterday we had the president of Botswana, Mokgweetsi Masisi, at State House, going from State House, going to the president's house, or the late president's house instead. Also there with Nangolo Mbumba, our president, console the first lady, or the former first lady, I'm still getting used to that one, Monica Geingob, saying that that was my bigger brother, and I don't even know how to say it. It's such a difficult position that we are put in. But we also have had the UN General Secretary also speaking there, but a number of presidents. But right now, Calvin, I see that you do have a new guest. Perhaps the Minister can just join us. Maybe we can stand up and have that conversation with us. Minister of Health, you can please
pass through,
join us. No, yes, sir.
We're just being joined by the Minister of Health. Please do bear with us. We are at the National Assembly right now. We do have Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, and very, very emotional, even at State House where we met him. Honorable Shangula, it's very clear that you have not even yet started to think of recovering from the emotional damage this death has caused. How are you feeling, sir?
It's very difficult to explain how one feels under the circumstances. The whole situation looks unreal. Although we have been discussing about it, we have witnesses, I have witnesses, but still it looks unreal. Under the circumstances, it's very difficult to imagine the loss which the Namibian people have suffered due to the death of President Hage Geingob. We have to recollect ourselves so that we can map the way forward without him. It's sad for us, it's sad for everybody, and I think I don't have any more words to express. Yes,
right.
Thank you.
You are supposed to enter the house. Do you expect this to take too much time today, considering what we are dealing with right now?
Well, it's difficult to think that people will really go into serious business under the circumstances because the emotions are just too high and it's too early. Thank you.
That's right, Doctor. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's right. That's our Minister of Health, Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, I am seeing members of the diplomatic corps making their way into the National Assembly. And earlier on, I saw the Speaker of the National Assembly, Professor Peter Kashavili, also making his way towards the entrance of the National Assembly itself. Earlier on, we did have the Trade Minister, Lucia Pumbu. She might be joining us just here to talk a little bit with us in terms of how this death really has affected her. And of course, what we are seeing here, especially the emotional outpouring and the state that our lawmakers are in right now. It's really the small picture of the bigger picture of the general cloud of mourning that is playing out right across the Republic of Namibia. As Dr. Kalumbi Shangula has indicated, it's the first time that the state institutions and its people of the Republic of Namibia really have had to deal with this, because never before has independent Namibia experienced the death of a sitting president. So President Hage Geingob enters the history books as the very first president who died while he was in office, a man who had indicated that he shall continue to serve until the expiry of his tenure, which would be next year. But then, of course, nature and fate had other plans. And right now, I will tell you that members of the National Assembly that are coming to this august house, they are donning the black color, a color of mourning. And that's what we're getting as far as that is concerned. We don't expect a lot. We don't expect too much in the National Assembly today. There won't be any debates. There won't be any questions. We are being informed because, hey, we have to deal with this death here. The Namibian newspaper this morning is reporting that a contingent of traditional leaders were expected or are expected to be meeting with the First Lady today to determine the number of days within which President Hage Geingob ought to be mourned. We are being told there's a proposal that the mourning period itself must take at least 3 weeks. Is this going to be allowed? We do not know. We shall continue to keep our ears on the ground and hear what is the way forward as far as the mourning period there is concerned. Learners continue to go to school. Of course, the Minister of Education has come out to say this is the only space which is safe for learners to be there, understand what is going on in this country. And teachers are being urged to communicate this in ways that learners understand that the country is in mourning. As I indicated earlier on there, I am seeing the Speaker of Parliament, of course, to his right, the President of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Nangolo Mbumba, walking into the National Assembly right now. He is the 4th President of the Republic. This is the first time that is walking into the National Assembly as the President of the Republic. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the momentum of the making of history right now at Parliament, at the National Assembly. Is walking into the National Assembly right now. And of course, if our logistics and our arrangements allow, we should be able to give you the feed coming from Parliament right now. But if we cannot, we do apologize, because the protocol here is also quite heavy. And that's what we're getting there. Of course, we do have the presence of state security here, presence of police officials, and I'm also seeing the press secretary, our Dr. Alfredo Engari. He is also finding his way in the National Assembly right now. That's the man that was responsible for communication, especially around the death of the president. But what we saw with that particular communication that came from State House, it came from Vice President Nangolo Mbumba, who was then Vice President, but of course now our 4th President of the Republic of Namibia. By next year, 2025, Namibia shall be having 5 presidents.
Well, if you just joined us, you are coming to this place today, of course. Let's get of the late Dr. Hage Geingob.
All right, we continue to give you this live feed from Parliament. We are in the National Assembly. And of course, as I indicated earlier on there, we have seen the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Professor Peter Kachaviri, walking into the August House, and also by his side, the fourth President of the Republic of Namibia, indicating to you that this is history that is walking on 2 feet right now. He enters the National Assembly as the fourth President of the Republic of Namibia. And of course, that's what we're getting there. We also trying to see if we can get the feed from the National Assembly right now, and of course relay it to you in terms of what is happening there. And in the next few seconds, we shall begin to see the National Assembly itself really starting its business of the day. It's not really going to be business as usual, and it's really going to be quite a faster program than when it than if it were to be a situation where the president had not died. That's what we're getting there. So let's see how it's going to be like. We don't expect debates. We don't expect questions. Lawmakers have been asked to put together tributes. They are expected to also give their eulogies. Possibly tomorrow there will be a request for a postponement of the sitting of the House to tomorrow. And then, of course, lawmakers ought to now be looking at how to deal with the state funeral before us. There I see the president of the Nudo party, who is our deputy health minister, that is Honorable Esther Mwinyangwe, in a very somber mood indeed. You can see and you can tell the faces of these lawmakers, not as usual. That's the fourth president of the Republic of Namibia, His Excellency Nangolo Mbumba, who by the conspiracy of fate now sees himself as the fourth president of the Republic of Namibia. His eyes telling indeed that this is a moment like no other. A giant has fallen, an icon has fallen, the leader of a nation has fallen. A man who embodied in many times and many respects the soul of the Namibian nation, and who wanted that Namibian house to walk in one direction. I also see there the leader of the official opposition, that's Honorable Makendri Benani. I also see Honorable Nico Smith, the deputy president of the PDM, Honorable Fantin Hiva is also there. I also see the lawmaker from the Landless People's Movement, that is Honorable Tara Mutu, also there in the National Assembly. Of course, donning the black color, symbolizing mourning and symbolizing lamentation over a son of the soil, as the revolutionary political parties of the region would like to categorize President Hage Geingob. And that's what we're getting there. We are yet to see. Okay, there we go. That's the Speaker of the National Assembly. That's Honorable Peter Kachaviri, starting the business of the day.
Of all of us, members of this Parliament, I herewith express our collective heartfelt condolences to Madam Monica Kenkos, the children, and the entire extended family, and of course, our nation as a country, as a whole. I now request that we observe a minute of silence in his honor, in his memory. Thank you. Honorable members, secondly, on Wednesday, the 31st of January 2024, we also learned about the passing of the Honorable Professor Gerald Totemeyer. Professor Totemeyer served as a member of this House between 2000 and 2005, and as a Deputy Minister of then Ministry of Regional Local Government and Housing during the same period. On behalf of all of us, I herewith express our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family, and particularly his dear wife, and the entire nation. I now once more request that we also observe a minute of silence in his honor and memory. Thank you. Your Excellency, honorable members, as we embark on this year's journey under the theme, quote, improve public engagement to the expectations of the citizens, end of the quote. We are reminded of our duty to forge close ties with those whom we serve. This theme underscores the imperative for us as elected representatives to listen, to engage, and act decisively to address the challenges facing our citizens, including efficient service delivery, unemployment that remain to be a particular challenge, and enhancing the quality of life for all our people. Our actions in this chamber, in this parliament, must reflect the aspirations and the needs of our people. As we embark on this new legislative year, it is important that we reflect on the progress we have made as a nation. As we approach the 2024 presidential and National Assembly elections, let us renew our commitment to the leadership as well to the need to preserve peace and stability in our country. I urge each of you to approach the task ahead in the spirit of unity and cooperation. Our late president would always stress and underline that idea of togetherness, holding hands, and he will constantly refer to the Namibian House that should be inclusive for forever. It is through our combined efforts that we can achieve the greater good for our country and its people, as per our national theme of One Namibia, One Nation. Your Excellency, honorable members, Rule 15, subsection D of the Standing Rules and Order of the National Assembly calls for the head of state to officially open the parliament at its first session every year. Rule 15 sub E reads, and I quote, at this session, the President shall make opening speech to enjoin assembly of both chambers, and not other business will be considered. End of the quote. As long-standing members of this House, most of you are familiar with that and do not need to be reminded. The President's address, therefore, at this joint assembly sets the tone for the 2024 legislative year. Before I invite the President to the podium, Your Excellency, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, I wholeheartedly express our best wishes to you for ascending to the highest office as our fourth President of our Republic of Namibia. Equally, let us extend our best wishes to you, Your Excellency, Madam Netumbo Nandi Daitwa, one of the longest-serving members of this House for your appointment as the Vice President of the Republic of Namibia. We wish both of you strength as you continue to discharge your assigned responsibilities. Indeed, the global community has applauded Namibia for having a smooth transition in leadership during the time of such a tragic loss. Once again, it was demonstrated that Namibia is a true democracy that fully respects its constitution. This should comfort all of us. Without further ado, I now kindly request you all to join me as I give the floor to His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, the President of the Republic of Namibia, to deliver his opening statement, signaling the start of the 2024 legislative year. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you. Let us take our seats.
In fact, I'm assuming that those who are supposed to be out of this chamber are already out. I received a kind of a signal to say now we are now into business, and the media people who sometimes occasionally stay around initially have been escorted to where they should be as we start the commencement. Thank you.
Please let us sit down.
Yeah.
Honorable Professor Peter Kachavivi, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Lucas Sinimbo Muha, Chairperson of the National Council, Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, Vice President of the Republic of Namibia, Right Honorable Sarah Kugongerwa Madira, Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, and leader of the government business in the House. Honorable McHenry Benani, leader of the official opposition, and other leaders of parties represented in Parliament. Your honorable members of Parliament, Your Lordship, Peter Shivute, Chief Justice, and other judges, Your Lordship, Petrus Damasep, Deputy Chief Justice, honorable judges and other members of the judiciary, the service chiefs, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am honored to join you at the official opening of the 9th session of the 7th Parliament in accordance with the long-standing practice established since independence, as the Honorable Speaker has already read them to us. The assumption of this legislative year is taking place at the time of the loss of our President, His Excellency Dr. Hage G. Geingob, on the 4th of February. He is one of the founders of the Namibian Constitution, having chaired the Constituent Assembly, which drafted our Constitution. He served as the first Prime Minister and third President of the Republic. Our country has therefore lost a national icon. It has lost a hero, a committed and dedicated leader who did not only contribute to the building of modern Namibia nation, but has made durable footprints in Namibia, on the African continent, and globally in all spheres of human endeavor. The Honorable Speaker has already make us to stand and observe a minute of silence. I don't have to repeat that. All as Namibians, we should therefore pick up from where he left and rededicate ourselves to the noble ideas of unity and inclusivity for all our citizens in the Namibian House. In his New Year's message, President Nangolo declared this year, 2024, to be the year of expectation. This is also the year of elections, in which the sovereign, the people of Namibia, the people of the Namibian House, will go to the polls in November this year to elect new presidential and parliamentary leaders. These new leaders will be expected to continue the task of nation building, consolidation of peace, stability, and democracy, with the aim of achieving shared prosperity. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chairperson, Namibians, as the sovereign, have clear expectations of the leaders they would elect to enter into a social contract with for the next 5 years. Therefore, both members of the executive and of parliament should prepare to account to the sovereign on their tangible achievements during the past 5 years of service. As a country, we have made good progress on our socio-economic development and are facing bright economic prospects. However, much remains to be done. Much work awaits us all. Therefore, as parliamentarians, you should focus your energies to enact laws that enhance the growth of our national economy, especially the sectors that broaden the scopes of economic development in our country, such as agriculture, mining, service and value addition to our natural resources. Currently, the government has embarked on the development of green energy resources, as well as oil and gas industries. Thus, all our 3 organs of state are required to redouble efforts to realize more inclusive economic growth, equality, equity, and shared prosperity across all spheres of our society. Hence, parliamentarians have an important role to play in ensuring that the work of the legislature positively impacts livelihoods, especially for those underserved Namibians in the remote areas of our country. In this context, just as members of the executive arm of government, members of parliament are required to self-introspect whether they have executed their mandate of enacting legislation which have positively transformed Namibian lives. I therefore appeal to parliamentarians from both houses to complete all outstanding businesses, including passing critical bills before year-end. I understand that the parliamentary theme of this year is, as the Speaker has already mentioned, and I quote, improve public engagement to the expectations of the citizens. This is particularly fitting and consistent with the overall theme of the government, which is, and I quote again, year of expectations. In view of this, each organ is responsible for different but equally important functions of the state, which are mutually reinforcing, while firmly upholding the doctrine of separation of powers. I have noted with appreciation that over the years, members of parliament have increased citizenry engagement through various standing committees. This is commendable, and I am happy to note that the National Assembly has reviewed its standing rules and orders and developed separate rules for standing committees. I believe that the National Council has similarly reviewed its standing rules and orders and is equally focused on enhancing outreach programs. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, members of Parliament play a vital role in ensuring that the laws passed in Parliament respond to the diverse needs and aspirations of our citizens. For that reason, honorable members, you should continue to engage with all stakeholders and also consider reconvening the 6th session of the Children's Parliament, which was last held, I believe, in August 2019. The Children's Parliament and the Junior National Council served as a platform where young people gather to debate issues affecting them and make recommendations to relevant offices, ministries, and agencies. These platforms also inculcate leadership values into our young people, which is an investment into the future of our country. Some honorable members of this august House are alumni of these structures and can testify to the benefits of such exposure. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chairperson, last year, several critical bills were tabled in this House. Several of them were passed, while others remain pending. As you set your agenda for this year, it is expected that pending bills be prioritized as per your mandate. Therefore, I am pleased to note that following are among the bills that are likely to be tabled during the course of this year: Regional Constituency Funding Bill, Health Professional Bill, Namibia Energy Regulator Bill, Children Justice Bill, Ombudsman Bill, Divorce Bill, Public Gathering and Demonstrations Bill, Regularization of status of certain residents, their foreign spouses, and their descendants Bill, Roads Bill, and Vehicle Mass Bill. I urge all parliamentarians to ensure that these bills are passed without delay. In conclusion, as the newly sworn-in president, I consider my role to be of an intermediate nature to optimally conclude the term of office of His Excellency Dr. Hage G. Geingob, our late president, to ensure the security of our people, to serve all Namibian communities to the best of my ability. And finally, to manage the transition to the next president, whom the Namibian people will elect come November 2024. Let me make it a little bit clearer. I have no intention, no desire, no ambition to stand for any office. So if you want to stand, don't think Mbumba is standing in your way. With this many words, it is now my honor to declare the 9th session of the 7th Parliament officially open. God bless the people of the land of the brave. Long live the Republic of Namibia, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for the words of wisdom and guidance to Parliament through the legislature to the nation at large. I now invite my colleague, the Honorable Lucas Simimbo Muha, Chairperson of the National Council, to deliver a vote of thanks on behalf of Parliament.
Honorable Professor Peter Kachavivi, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Your Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, the President of the Republic of Namibia, and Madam Mbumba, Your Excellency Onane Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, the Vice President of the Republic of Namibia, Right Honorable Sarah Kongelwa Madila, Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, His Lordship, Chief Justice Peter Shivute, my own brother, Honorable McHenry Benani, leader of the official opposition, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished members of Parliament, distinguished.
All right, we continue to give you this live feed from the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia. And we are just coming from that speech, which is coming from the head of state. That's Namibia's 4th president who came to the helm just a few hours ago and making a very powerful statement there that has been met by ovation from the lawmakers. And he said, I have no ambition to stand for office. So if you do want to run and contest for the presidency, do not let Mbumba stand in your way. That alone is a very important statement that's coming from the head of state there. And of course, rightly so, putting into clear context what his responsibilities really are between now and the expiry of the term of office of the now deceased President Hage Geingob. He says, I will be responsible for serving the communities of the Republic of Namibia to the best of his abilities. And he also says that he will be responsible for safeguarding the territorial integrity of the country, in terms of the security within the country, the borders of the nation, speaking of security there. And most importantly, he also indicates that he'll be responsible for presiding over the transition, especially that is going to be playing out at the end of the year in November when the elections will be held. He'll be the president that will oversee those elections, and he'll be the president who will make sure that a substantive president who is supposed to serve his full tenure comes to the fore, and it's all supposed to be done as per the constitutional dictates and as per the constitutional tradition of the Republic of Namibia. And that is what is coming through there. Honorable and His Excellency President Nangolo Mbumba, really his speech resonating with a lot of the words that we have come to be used to, especially when you read through the speeches of President Hage Geingob. They're talking about a redoubling of efforts of the lawmakers, encouraging the lawmakers to make sure that they expedite, especially the passing of bills that are critical to the health of the state of the Republic of Namibia. And that's what we're getting as far as that is concerned. And we continue to give you this live feed right here from the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia, where, of course, now the Speaker of Parliament is taking over. We'll take you right back there.
Peter Shivute, and the entire members of judiciary for being present. We equally appreciate the presence of the members of our cabinet. I furthermore acknowledge the attendance of all invited diplomatic corps, former MPs, chairpersons of the regional councils, mayors of local authorities, heads of institutions, and captains of industries. Your commitment to attend in person is highly appreciated. Honorable Speaker, the work and effort of the media institutions for successfully covering this event is highly noted. Last but not least, I acknowledge and appreciate the excellent arrangement made by the parliamentary secretariats under the guidance of the Secretary to National Assembly and the Secretary to National Council for ensuring the smooth and successful official opening of this Parliament. Brothers and sisters, as I am concluding, please join me in thanking the Almighty for bringing us back in order for us to continue where we ended last year. I equally thank him for the rain season. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, we didn't have an opportunity to share with you the fact that as we adjourn the House this afternoon, we are resuming tomorrow to dedicate Wednesday afternoon to paying tribute to our leader, to the son of this country, to remember him, and to provide an opportunity to members of the National Assembly to use the occasion to express themselves, and that is the best we can do, create that particular space. Someone was saying, you know, we've never been on this highway. These are some of the developments that are occurring, and we're improvising to find a way how to deal with it, how to pay a special tribute to someone who has been so much part of this house, so much part of this country, so much part of the world. And we have taken note of the fact we are not alone mourning him. but the rest of the international community have indicated the fact that Namibia has lost an icon, someone who was highly respected, who have added a great value to the development in the wider global village. And I'm looking forward tomorrow to say one or two things. As I recall, as someone from childhood to manhood to a much older years in our life, there is so much that I would like to share. And I'm very much looking forward to members of this National Assembly to come back here tomorrow to do precisely that. But for now, I now call on the Right Honourable Prime Minister to adjourn the joint sitting of Parliament until further notice, and for the National Assembly sitting until tomorrow, Wednesday, the 7th February 2024, the usual time, 2:30. Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. I move that the joint sitting of Parliament is adjourned until further notice, and that the session of the National Assembly is adjourned until tomorrow at 14 hours.
Thank you so much. And can I also suggest that as I lead the procession throughout the chamber, we do this as we are standing in a very dignified way. Thank you.
So we are back right here at the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia. That's the National Assembly. And of course, that's our Prime Minister, Prime Minister Sarah Kugongero Madila, who just appeared there, of course, talking about the adjournment of the House right now. Of course, we are in mourning. The nation is in mourning. And the business of today required that the President puts out a speech. And of course, we saw the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Peter Kachavivi, also talking about the time that we are in right now, how the world has responded to the said passing on of President Hage Geingob there. So this is what is coming through once again. President Nangolo Mbumba putting the foot down on the ground and setting the record straight and saying that he does not have ambitions whatsoever to contest for the presidency of the Republic of Namibia. And he says whoever wants to run is a democratic space and everybody is welcome, but do not think that Nangolo Mbumba will stand in your way. That's what we're getting as far as that is concerned. We'll just move because it is about to rain now. Okay. Now, members of the House walking out. I see there Honorable Albert Kawana, of course, the Minister of Home Affairs, shaking hands with Honorable Kalumbi Shangula, and that's the Health Minister we were in conversation with just shortly there. I also see the Deputy Minister of Mines, and once again, I also see the leader of the official opposition there. And as you can see, members of the National Assembly are all wearing black, signaling the mourning that is underway on account of the passing on of President Hage Geingob. Now I need All right, we are right here at the Parliament, the National Assembly. We are joined by a lawmaker from the UDF there. That's Honorable Dudu Murora. We do apologize for our mic there. It's raining, so we are trying to get our feet properly. Honorable, good afternoon to you, but I should also say our condolences on the account of the passing on of our leader, President Hage Geingob. How do you feel at this point?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much. I must also say, really, condolences to all of you too, because it's not only me as a person, it's the entire nation that is now today really mourning the passing away of our president. My dear brother, basically, the beginning of the year in Namibia, and specifically after such good rains, is a period where we start to praise our Lord. But the big question now is whether we should sing praises to Him or whether we should continue mourning, because our nation has really lost a son of the soil. He is the very first person, when they came back from abroad, that has kissed the soil of Namibia. And I must say, honestly speaking, he has also continued further and was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, the group of members who were writing the constitution of this very country of ours. So he has done a great job for us. In my honest opinion, he is also such a person that right from the beginning, he said that he would really give a certain portion of his salary for Namibians that are not well off, so that they can have some kind of living. I must say, he is, in my opinion, a person who has been looking after children who were not all of them born from him. They were eating from him honey, but he was always available for them, and sometimes we could see that we would really upset him. But nevertheless, after a day or two, we saw him always working for the Namibians and not working for himself. During the elections also, he is one of those people who told us to say and told us and said that, yeah, don't play the men, play the ball. Play the ball. He's also the very first president who told us and said that we should build a Namibian house and that everybody should be included in this house. That created a sense of patriotism amongst all of us. And his homegoing, in my opinion, is not a homegoing only for his immediate family, because we were all part of the Namibian house where he was the head of this house. And it is my opinion that we all have suffered a loss. So I must say, although we cannot change what has been done by the Lord, we would rather like to have him amongst us even after retirement, so that he could guide us. But who are we to direct to the Lord what is best for us? So we will allow him as leadership and members of the United Democratic Front to go in peace and be with the Lord Almighty, so that he can perhaps give a foreword for us, so that Namibia can be a better place for us to live. And I thank him for all the work that he has done.
Thank you so much, Honorable Dudu. We appreciate you, and we continue to say, and you mourn with hope. It's a loss for the entire country. It's a loss for the UDF family as well. It's a loss for the continent of Africa.
Exactly.
That's what we're getting right here at the National Assembly. Honorable, you can make a way. We thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
That's what we're getting as far as what we're getting here from the National Assembly is concerned. Honorable Dudu Murorwa, we're trying to see if we can speak with more of the lawmakers that are coming up from the National Assembly to give us their own eulogies, their own tributes right here on this man who has been celebrated as an icon. President Hage Geingob really cutting his teeth in politics at the earliest when he was in school, where he was expelled as a result of his political activism, readmitted in that school, but still continuing along the path of the struggle for the independence of the country, leaving the country and finding himself in the United States of America, where he was given the task to represent Namibia at the United Nations and champion for the cause of the liberation of the country. He was responsible, working with the United Nations, setting up an office in Zambia. And of course, that's why in many of his speeches, he says that Namibia is a child of international solidarity birthed by the United Nations. We will remember the UNTAG that was led by Mati Atesari that came here in the wee hours of the dawn of democracy here in Namibia in the early 1990s, late 1980s. And it was the work of such men as former President Hage Geingob who made it possible that the democratic anchors of Namibia are set firmly in the bedrock of Namibia society. We're just joined right now by the leadership of the Lenders People's Movement, Honorable Bernardo Swadboy, a man who throughout his political career was very close to the president, where he agreed with the president and where he disagreed with the president, still remaining closer to this man that is mourning today. Honorable Sebe, it's a somber, Honorable Swadboy, sorry, it's a somber day. Your black here symbolizes the general cloud that continues to hover over the Namibian House. How do you feel right now, Honorable?
Well, indeed, it is a somber day. It is a somber day because we have lost an icon in many regards. He was not just a fighter for freedom, but he was a teacher, both here in Namibia, in Tsumeb area where he comes from, and then in exile, he also became a teacher, a principal, a director at the United Nations Institute for Namibia. And so his life was one of imparting knowledge among the people that he met. He then became a renowned administrator who set up the governance architecture as the first prime minister. And from day one, late President Geingob was known as a man of inclusivity, a man that wanted each and every Namibian to have a space in the Namibian nation. From every gender, from every tongue, every nationality, or rather every ethnic group, he was about inclusivity, equity, and equality. And we have lost that person. We have lost that person, and while we are mourning, we should actually also be celebrating, because he did his very best for this country until the very last moment. I recall that in December, if I'm not mistaken, he also announced an increment for the old age pension grants. And that was really the man, a generous heart, a tough person, a standards-oriented person, a strict teacher, a strict administrator, and when you needed that compassionate, that soft side, he would give you that as well. So in many ways, I have lost a person who played a key role in my life, who from time to time would call me in the morning when I was governor, and we would have long conversations about what should be done, what Namibian politics should look like. We'll talk about African politics, we'll talk about global politics, because he was an internationalist, a staunch Pan-Africanist, and a committed servant of humanity. And we can only say, rest in power and in peace, as he will be laid to rest at a date to be announced.
That's right. And before you go there, Honorable Swadboy, the business of the National Assembly this week, how does it look like?
I wouldn't know because I'm not fully briefed, but I know that tomorrow will be dedicated to members of parliament paying tribute to the late president. What is quite important also is that he was a prime minister who also happened to be a member of parliament when he started. He was at some stage also a backbencher and then ascended to the chief whip position. And so he's pretty much a common person to this house, to this venue, to the workings of this place, where he again instilled a sense of standard and prestige, and where he demonstrated the arguments of give and take politics, of compromise, of seeking consensus, even with rivals. And so from time to time, we take note from how they did things here at a very difficult time since the inception of the democratic state. And we keep learning on our own way and with our own understanding how matters of the business of parliament should be done. Of course, we have challenges about how it is done, and you would recall that we are still in court with the Speaker of the National Assembly about our own issues around the disciplinary question, as well as on the matter of genocide. Because of late, there is a principle of Parliament takes note that has been brought in, which is a term that we do not find in the rules of the House. That a substantive issue is brought, matter is debated, the other side of the House finds that they don't have support, and a Speaker rules that we take note of the matter, which is unprocedural, illegal, and unconstitutional. So let us see how the matters of the House will be dealt with. The bills that we were informed by the acting president seem so few. If it's 8-9 bills that the government has as its business this year, it's very sad that we have such a limited number of things that have to be done. But at the same time also, we look forward to completing the motions that were there. My hope really is that we do not conduct a lot of business up until the actual burial of the president, Dr. Kengo, and that we sort of allow this house sort of to, in some measure, go silent until the end of the morning.
Do you anticipate a smooth working relationship with the new president? He says he does not have ambitions to run for the presidency. What does it say to you? Well,
it does not matter for us. It was, as far as I'm concerned, an irrelevant statement. That is something that he should have said in a SWAPO meeting. It has nothing to do with this house. Who has ambitions? It's not in this house that the president is appointed, unlike in South Africa. So that message was completely out of this zone of relevance. Besides, I have never had a good experience with the current acting president. Even now, where we have a challenge with the regional councillors of Kara's region, where these people fired themselves by operation of the law, we are told that he has been saying that they will influence the courts. It is the same man that speaks here today of separation of powers. So I am privy to the meetings where people like himself, in his capacity as vice president, was saying that as that matter will be adjudicated this Friday, that they will rather opt, instead of talking to us, would rather opt for influencing the courts. So I have very little expectations. I have very little hope that he will be a person that will bring the House, the Namibian House, together. But we are always hopeful, always, to work with people in the most compelling interests of the people of Namibia. And in that regard, we are willing, ready to serve together with him to the best interests of our people.
That's right. Honorable Sir, we do appreciate the time that you gave us there. And we continue to also express our condolences to you and the family, as well as the rest of the nation, as we continue to mourn.
Thank you very much.
That's right. That's the Honorable Swatboy there from the Landless People's Movement, the leader of the party here, of course, eulogizing in his way the life of President Hage Geingob. I will just shift position right here and of course saying that he does not expect anything really new from the incoming. That's the President of the Republic, Nangolo Mbumba. I'm just joined by lawmaker Maximilian Kashimune from the Popular Democratic Movement, the official opposition here. Honorable Kashimune wearing black once again, signaling the mourning period that we are under right now. The president says he has no interest with the position. He won't be serving beyond the constitutionally stipulated mandate that is also within the framework of between now and when President Hage Geingob would have retired from serving as the President of the Republic there. But unfortunately, we are dealing with a death now. What is your reaction to that? President Mbumba saying, I don't want to run.
Well, Calvin, it brings a sigh of relief. It really brings a sigh of relief because there will be continuity in terms of what the Constitution stipulates. And also, another factor is that the Sabo Party, which President Geingob belonged to already, has already endorsed Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah as the presidential candidate. So it was expected in far-reaching circles that Dr. Nangolo Mbumba would not contest Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah as a presidential candidate. But we are relieved that the President of the Republic will only serve now as an interim role to finish the term of President Geingob, of the late President Geingob, and that there will be presidential elections in November to elect a new president and a new legislature.
That's right. And at the same time, what are your sentiments right now in light of the mourning period that we are under in the passing of President Hage Geingob?
Well, the opening session of the 9th Parliament of the Session Parliament was really somber, and it was really a sad moment for us because in the first time in the history of this republic, we have had the passing of a head of state, not only any head of state, but a sitting head of state. So it was a somber moment for us, and we will remember President Geingob as one of those anchors of our constitution that really, was a chairperson of our Constituent Assembly that gave birth to probably one of the best constitutions in the world that guarantee Chapter 3, which enshrines fundamental rights and freedoms, the freedom of expression, freedom of the media, which the media so much enjoys in Namibia, where we have been almost #1 consistent in Africa. And even in terms of the global arena, where we have beaten countries, one of the oldest democracies, most of the oldest democracies in the world, we have even beaten them in terms of media freedom. So we are grateful to President Geingob for having been one of those champions that gave birth to this constitution. It is really a somber moment for us as a legislature to open this legislative year without the former head of state.
That's right, Honorable Kashimune, we do appreciate you. And do have an awesome remainder of the day.
Thank you very much, Kelvin.
That's right. That's Honorable Maximilian Kashimune from the Popular Democratic Movement there, saying that he actually commends the President of the Republic for making this statement loud and clear that he won't be contesting in the upcoming elections. He won't be contesting, I'm pretty sure, also within the Sabo Party for the position of the president there. Of course, we know that the party now has the responsibility to enter into an extraordinary Congress so that they can reset their default settings in preparation of the 2024 November election there. And that's what we're getting right here from the National Assembly. Still, it has been a lot of, elements coming. There have been a lot of elements coming from the speech of President Nangolo Mbumba there. He speaks of parliamentarians having to bring about legislation that speaks directly to the people, and also commending the developments that have been brought about through the years, that the National Assembly has been much more responsive and very much connected with the grassroots where the sovereigns are, by setting up parliamentary standing committees where matters of public concern are debated, and where also these committees tend to visit the communities and speak with the communities and come back to the National Assembly, write reports, recommendations being made and action being carried out there. And that's what we're getting as far as that is concerned. We've been coming live from Parliament, from the National Assembly, where a few minutes ago President Nangolo Mbumba issued his speech. And of course, we also heard from the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Peter Kachavidi, who said we are in an unprecedented moment of mourning right now. Tomorrow, we're being informed lawmakers will be also putting across their tributes in honor of a giant that has fallen. And this is history that is marching in slow motion on 2 feet as we enter an unprecedented moment. My name is Kelvin Chiringa. This is Desert Radio and the Namibian newspaper straight from Parliament.